On the morning of New Year's Day, I saw a suitcase lying in front of my house. Was it a New Year's gift from someone? But when I examined the suitcase closely, I noticed my son's initials stamped on the side. Inside, there was a note attached with just one number written on it, 05. I didn't understand what it meant until the clock struck exactly that time. That's when I finally knew who had brought the suitcase to my door. I'm about to tell you the truth about what happened at 0005, but first, I need to feel your presence. Comment below what city or country are you in right now, and what time does your clock say? The cold woke me before dawn. That's Montana in January. Chill that seeps through century-old walls and settles in your bones. I reached across the bed out of habit. Empty space. 2 years gone, and I still reached for Eleanor every morning. 6 a.m., time to feed the cattle. I made coffee in the kitchen Eleanor and I had shared for 40 years. Her blue mug sat in the cupboard, chipped handle and all. Couldn't use it. Couldn't throw it away either. The thermometer outside read 18 degrees when I stepped onto the porch. My breath came out in white clouds. The sky promised more snow. That's when I saw it. A suitcase on the porch boards dusted with fresh snow. Leather, expensive. The kind my son Brandon would buy. Gold letters embossed on the side, BRB. Brandon Robert Bennett. I carried it inside with hands steadier than my heartbeat. The latches clicked open, easy. Inside the suitcase was empty except for a single sheet of white paper placed dead center. 4 numbers in Brandon's neat printing. 0005. I stared at those numbers. Turned the paper over. Nothing. Just that time, 5 minutes past midnight. But why? Military training dies hard. I checked the lining for hidden compartments, found a bulge in the fabric. A hidden pocket revealed a brass key with a number engraved on it, 189. The worry in my chest got heavier. I called Brandon. Voicemail. You've reached Brandon Bennett. Leave a message. Brandon, it's Dad. Found your suitcase this morning with a note inside. Call me back. I'm worried. I tried Melissa next. My daughter's voicemail was colder. You've reached Melissa Bennett. Leave a detailed message. I didn't. What would I say? By 7:30, I'd called both numbers 5 times. Voicemail every time. My children had been distant for months. Calls, unreturned visits, postponed. I'd told myself they were busy, successful, living their own lives. But this felt different. Peter Donovan's truck came up the drive at 7:30. My neighbor checks on me weekly since Eleanor died. We're both old men now, moving careful in the winter. Morning, George. Storm coming. Thought I'd check in. I showed him the suitcase, the paper, the key. Told him about the unanswered calls. Pete was quiet thinking. Then saw a silver Honda this morning, around 5:30, coming from your place, heading toward town. My heart kicked. Melissa drives a silver Honda. Thought so. Too dark to be certain, but it didn't stop. Just drove past at a good clip. After Pete left, I stood on the porch holding that key and that paper. Snow was falling harder now, big flakes drifting down like ash. 16 hours until midnight. 17 hours and 5 minutes until 0005. Why would Melissa come at dawn, leave Brandon's suitcase, and disappear without a word? What were my children trying to tell me? The phone inside started ringing. Loud, insistent. I walked toward it, boots crunching on fresh snow that was already covering my morning footprints. Covering everything, making it clean and white. I didn't know yet that answering that phone would be the first step toward losing my children forever. Didn't know that by nightfall, everything I thought I knew about Brandon and Melissa would be gone. All I knew was this: something was wrong. Something my son had started and my daughter had delivered in darkness. Something that would happen at 5 minutes past midnight. The phone kept ringing. I reached for the door, the key heavy in my pocket, those 4 numbers burning in my mind. 0005. 16 hours to figure out what it meant. The phone was ringing when I stepped inside. Unknown number. My hands were shaking from cold, I told myself. I answered. Robot voice selling Medicare supplements. I hung up hard. Then I called Brandon. Voicemail. I waited 15 minutes. Called again. Voicemail. By 10 o'clock, I'd called 17 times. Same recording every time. You've reached Brandon Bennett. Leave a message. I tried Melissa between calls. Her voicemail was colder. You've reached Melissa Bennett. Leave a detailed message. Eleanor used to say I worried too much. She'd be worried now, too. Around 9, my phone buzzed. Text from a blocked number. Ask Melissa about Seattle. Ask her about the money. Trust no one. What money? Melissa was a public defender in Salt Lake City. Seattle was 4 states away. The kitchen felt smaller with each unanswered call. Family photos on the wall mocked me Brandon at 8 with his first fish. Melissa at 10 in her school graduation gown. When had their smiles become lies? At 10 o'clock, the phone rang. Real call. Caller ID SLC Police Department. Mr. Bennett, Officer Lauren Matthews, Salt Lake City. I'm calling about your son, Brandon Bennett. My heart stopped. Is he hurt? We don't know where he is, sir. We need you to come to his residence. There's been a situation. How soon can you get here? What situation? I'd rather explain in person. It's complicated. 3 hours if the roads are clear. A pause. Drive carefully. Weather's getting worse. Another pause. Mr. Bennett, does your son have any reason to disappear? The word hit like a fist. Disappear number Brandon stable. Married. Good job. What's this about? We'll discuss when you arrive. She gave me the address. 2 more texts arrived before I could move. The key opens box, 189 at Zions Bank Temple Square, Salt Lake City. Are you ready for the truth? Then you have until 0005 tonight. After that, everything changes. Everyone will know. Hurry. Military instinct kicked in. Pack light. Cash not credit cards. Tell someone. I called Pete. I'm driving to Salt Lake. Brandon's in trouble. Can you watch the ranch? Want company? No, I need to handle this alone. I packed fast. Change of clothes. $800 from the safe. The key. That paper with those numbers. 10:45. 13 hours until midnight. I walked out to Eleanor's grave snow, already covering her headstone. I don't know what's happening, Ellie, but I'm scared. Our kid's something's wrong. I'll fix it. The wind picked up. She didn't answer. Never did anymore. I climbed into my F-150, started the engine, watched the ranch shrink in the rearview mirror. Interstate 15. South stretched into the storm. 3 hours to Salt Lake City. 13 hours to midnight. 18 minutes after that, something would happen at 0005. Something my children were tangled in. Something that involved police and cryptic warnings and a bank box I'd never heard of. The headlights cut through snow. I pressed the accelerator. Whatever waited in Salt Lake, I needed to reach it before midnight. Before 0005. Before everything changed forever. The GPS said 2847 Mill Creek Drive. I sat in my truck for a full minute, engine running, heat blasting, staring at my son's house. From the outside, it looked like a magazine spread a 2-story colonial, with white trim and snow-draped pine wreaths. Through the front window, a Christmas tree still glowed. Champagne flutes lined the mantel, and a banner read, Happy New Year. But there were no cars in the driveway, no footprints in the fresh snow, no lights except the tree blinking red and green like a distress signal. I shut off the engine and stepped into the cold. Agent Matthews waited on the porch, arms crossed, breath fogging. She was younger than I expected, mid-30s, sharp-eyed, the kind of cop who noticed everything. Mr. Bennett, she said. Not George. Mr. Thank you for coming. Where's my son? That's what we're trying to determine. The house was unlocked. No forced entry, no struggle. Just empty. Inside warmth rushed over me, followed by a silence that rang in my ears. The living room was staged for a party, champagne on ice hors d'oeuvre, untouched 30 folding chairs, and a circle name cards on a table. No guests, no host. How long has he been gone? We don't know. The lights have been on since last night, but no one's seen him since yesterday afternoon. I moved through the house carefully, every sense alert. Dining room, kitchen, hallway, everything perfect. Everything wrong. In the study, the desk was chaos. Bank statements, spreadsheets, legal papers, and my name, George Arthur Bennett, on all of them. One account showed $12,000 years of transfers, withdrawals, offshore wires, all under my identity. Did you authorize this? No. She showed me another file, Bennett Consulting Group, me listed as registered. Agent 8 shell companies, over $5 million, moved in 8 years. The floor seemed to tilt. She told me to come to the station. I asked for 5 minutes. After a pause, she agreed. I searched until I found a locked drawer. The key from the suitcase 189 opened it. Inside was an envelope with my name written in Brandon's hand. He confessed everything. All 3 were guilty, him Melissa Allison. 5.1 million stolen using my identity. He admitted helping build it. Then greed took over. Another 4.3 million planned. Melissa to be removed, made to look like an accident. She discovered it first and sent me the suitcase to destroy them. At 005, evidence would upload to the FBI. Melissa was already negotiating, ready to blame Brandon and Allison walk free and leave me as collateral. A man named James Patterson held proof. Box 189 at Zions Bank Temple Square. He didn't ask forgiveness. He warned me that Melissa was using me as a weapon and would let me take the fall. He said I taught him honor. He said he forgot. I folded the letter as footsteps climbed the stairs. My children, criminals, liars, one plotting murder. I looked at the second-floor window, 12 feet down, lattice on the side. 67 years old, bad knee, but I'd done worse. I opened the window and climbed. The night air burned my lungs, but fear kept me moving because staying meant handcuffed silence and losing the last chance to uncover where Brandon was and stop the damage already set in motion. Below, the snow waited, and I trusted instinct over age pain and the law that night alone. I ran 6 blocks before I felt safe enough to slow down. I blended into the New Year's Eve crowds, found a coffee shop, paid cash for black coffee, and sat in the back corner pretending to be normal, while my heart tried to escape my chest. I searched James Patterson's Salt Lake City. A LinkedIn profile appeared financial consultant, former partner of Brandon Bennett until 10 years ago. I called. He answered on the first ring. George, I've been waiting for you. He gave me instructions, Zion's Bank Temple Square side entrance 4:30 sharp. I arrived early. Alley access, discreet door, 1 security camera overhead. At exactly 4:30 the door opened. A man stood there, early 40s, lean, sharp-eyed. He extended his hand. Mr. Bennett, I'm James Patterson. Brandon sent me your photo 6 months ago. Said you might need help someday. I'm sorry that day is today. I shook his hand. How do I know this isn't a trap? You don't, he said calmly. But if I wanted you caught, I'd call Agent Matthews. She's FBI, not local police. FBI, so it was federal. $5.1 million across state lines, James said. 8 years. We have 10 minutes before the cameras loop. Let's move. We descended into the vault. Rows of metal boxes, fluorescent lights humming. Melissa destroyed me, he said quietly. 10 years ago, she accused me of embezzlement, fabricated evidence. Brandon believed her. I lost everything. Took years to recover. We stopped at box 189. James produced a brass key identical to mine. 2 keys. Brandon designed it. We inserted them together and turned. The drawer slid open. Inside were a black USB drive, a thick folder, and a sealed envelope. 8 years of transactions, James said, lifting the USB. Every victim, every account. He opened the folder. Corporate filings, shell companies, offshore accounts. My forged signature everywhere. Melissa had targeted vulnerable clients through her job as a public defender. Elderly defendants, terminally ill clients, people without families. She gained power of attorney, invented legal emergencies, and drained accounts slowly. 23 confirmed victims. Total theft $5.1 million. Brandon and Allison managed the money. They used my identity to create fake companies, routed funds offshore, then laundered it back through crypto and real estate. I was the perfect fall guy, an aging rancher with unexplained wealth. James pointed to one file. This broke Brandon. Dorothy Martinez, 73, stage 4 cancer. Entire life savings, $100, $80,000 drained. Melissa told her she was protecting the money. I sat down hard. My daughter's a monster. James opened the sealed envelope. Your daughter is ruthless. Your son became a criminal to please her. And your daughter-in-law may be worse. He showed me a scheduled transfer. Time 0006. 1 minute after the FBI upload. $4.3 million moving to a secret account Brandon controlled. He was stealing it, I whispered. Yes. The upload at 0005 requires 2 passwords to stop. Brandon has one, I have the other. He planned to stop the upload, take the money frame, Melissa and Allison, and let you absorb the damage. Where is he? Grand America Hotel, room 418. 2 weeks now. He can't shut the system down alone. James's phone beeped. 90 seconds. We need to go. I pocketed the USB. It felt impossibly light for something that could destroy my children. We exited into the alley, snow falling, cold biting. Then I stopped. A woman stood under the streetlight. Expensive coat, designer boots, Allison. 2 large men flanked her, silent, watching. Her hand slid into her coat. James whispered, run. There was nowhere to run. I'd been in combat before. I just didn't know if I was still fast enough. The gun was a Glock 19 compact reliable standard issue. Allison held it like she'd been trained. Maybe she had. I'd never asked what my daughter-in-law did before she met my son. Stupid. Fatal. George. James. Back into the lobby. Slow. Hands where I could see them. We backed through the side door into the bank lobby. Motion lights flickered on. Marble floors gleamed. Allison and her 2 men followed. The door locked behind us. Trapped. Watch the doors, she told them. Anyone comes in, handle it. They move smoothly. Professionals. She looked at me. Give me the USB. Where's my son? She laughed. Your son stopped being yours when he chose me. When he chose money over morals. Over you. You manipulated him. I loved him. He was weak. Weak men are easy. Melissa knew it. I knew it. We used him. James said you and Melissa planned this. Melissa finds prey, gains trust, drains accounts. I handle offshore money. Brandon was the pretty face. But something changed, I said. So you framed him. I tried to save him. He went to James-built evidence, set an upload timer. Now everything burns. Unless it's stopped. Yes, give me James's password. I'll get Brandon's. We stop the upload. I disappear. Brandon and Melissa rot. You get your son alive. Except the victims. They're dead or irrelevant. We're alive. You deserve prison, James said. Allison aimed at him. Then you die first. The gun centered on my chest. I don't bluff. I've been shot before. You're just a thief. Her finger tightened. The front door opened. Melissa walked in. Hope flared. Melissa, call the police. She walked past me. Put the gun down, Allison. It's over. I froze. Melissa. You started this, Allison snapped. I controlled it, Melissa said. You and Brandon were tools. My heart shattered. Allison swung the gun toward her. Tool. The door exploded inward. FBI, drop your weapons. Agent Matthews and 6 agents stormed in. Allison's men surrendered. Allison hesitated. Allison Brooks, drop it now. She looked at Melissa. You set me up. Melissa smiled. I always plan ahead. Allison dropped the gun. Agents cuffed her. Melissa turned to Matthews. Officer, thank God. Matthews cuffed her. Melissa Bennett, you're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, identity theft, and conspiracy. Shot crossed her face. I cooperated. You framed them, Matthews said. We know everything. Melissa glared at me. This is your fault. You're my daughter. I stopped being that long ago. Honor, justice, fairy tales. Then I failed you. She was led away. Brandon's at the Grand America, room 418. You won't stop him. You love us too much. Matthews turned to me. We need to talk. Am I under arrest? Depends if you run. I need to see my son. We know where he is. You can talk wired. If he runs, we breach. He won't run. He's my son. Matthews looked sad. Are you sure? James touched my shoulder. 6 hours until midnight. If you want to reach him first, we go now. I looked at Matthews. She nodded. My son was nearby, hiding, planning betrayal. I'd taught him better. Somewhere I failed. But fathers try anyway. Grand America Hotel rose over Temple Square like a monument to old money and new sins. James and I pushed through New Year's Eve crowds in the lobby, gowns, tuxedos, champagne laughter echoing off marble. We took the elevator to the 4th floor. The hallway was quiet, insulated from the celebration below. Room 418 waited at the end. I raised my fist, then hesitated. Behind the door was my son, the boy I taught to throw a ball. Drive a truck, stand up for what's right. Behind it was also a criminal who'd used my name to ruin innocent lives. I didn't know which one would answer. I knocked. The door opened immediately. Brandon stood there, gray and shaking, reeking of fear. Dad, you came. You look awful. When did you last eat or sleep? He laughed weakly. I don't know. Come in. The suite was large and sterile. Unused minibar, cold room service tray outside. On the desk, multiple screens glowed. A countdown timer read 5 hours 23 minutes until 00:05. James Brandon said good. I need you both. We opened box 189, James replied. We know everything. Brandon sank into a chair. So you know I'm a monster. Tell me the truth, I said. All of it. The words spilled out. 8 years ago, Melissa pitched an investment. He wanted success, wanted to impress Allison. At first, it looked legitimate, protecting clients' money. The lifestyle followed. Marriage, comfort. 2 years in, he learned it was theft. Tried to quit. Melissa showed him forged documents, his name everywhere. Prison if he left. Allison had been Melissa's friend first. Their meeting wasn't an accident. Brandon was managed, watched controlled. My identity was used without my knowledge. Brandon contacted James, gathered evidence. Built the upload system automatic at 00:05, unless stopped by 2 passwords. Then Allison discovered it, threatened him. Melissa followed, promising to pin everything on him. The suitcase at my ranch was bait to pull me in and buy her time. So you want us to stop the upload, I said. Yes, Dad, please. If it uploads, I go away for decades. What about the victims? They're dead. I'm alive. I'm your son. James showed me a document. Scheduled transfer at 6, 4.3 million. This account. I looked at Brandon. Is it yours? Silence. Then yes. So you plan to steal it and run? No, yes, but I stood. You were going to vanish and leave me holding the wreckage. You're old, he snapped. You don't need it. I have decades left. Free from consequences, I said, from being who I raised. You raised me to be weak, he cried. Honor doesn't pay bills. It gives you a soul. Then mine's gone. I went to the window. Snow fell over the city. I heard Eleanor's voice in memory. Do what's right. When you were 7, I said quietly, you fell off your bike 11 times. You always got back up. Where did that boy go? When I learned falling can kill you. A knock thundered. FBI, open up. Brandon went pale. Then another voice, female furious. Brandon opened the door. Allison. Glass shattered in the bathroom. Brandon lunged for the computer. James grabbed him. Allison burst in from the fire escape wrists. Bruised hair wild gun raised the same Glock. The timer read 0803. She smiled at me. Now we talk about passwords, loyalty, and who deserves to survive. They say that hours before midnight on New Year's Eve stretch like taffy, slow and sweet. That night they crawled like wounded animals. For 3 hours after Allison came through the bathroom window, we sat frozen in a portrait of broken blood and broken law. Allison in the desk chair gun drifting between targets. Brandon on the sofa cycling through fear, rage, hope, despair. James by the window silent and steady, and me facing my son while he tried to save himself by destroying everyone else. At 11:03, when I thought I'd seen every version of him, Brandon made his last move. He tried to buy me. If the upload happens at hour 0:05, he said the transfer at hour 0:06 fails. But if you stop it now, I still get the money. I'll give you half. 1.5 million. Offshore. Enough to save the ranch. You'll never have to work again. I stared at him. You think I want blood money? It's just numbers, he pleaded. Give it to charity if you want. But let me have the rest. I can start over. Allison nodded. No evidence, no case. We all walk. My phone buzzed. A text from Agent Matthews. She told me SWAT was outside. The room was under surveillance. If we stopped the upload, the case collapsed. All 3 would walk free. Melissa, Allison, Brandon. My stolen identity would never be proven. The choice and the consequences were mine. I read it 3 times. The clock read 11:47. I looked at Brandon, a stranger wearing my son's face. At Allison, empty-eyed, gun steady. At James, the man my son might have been. Brandon saw my decision forming. Dad, please. I'm begging you. Remember when I was 7, you said you'd always catch me when I fell. I'm falling now. The memory burned, scraped knees, my promise. And then Dorothy Martinez's note. I'm sorry for being such a burden. I spoke calmly. Son, you didn't fall. You jumped. You chose this. So you're letting me die. I'm letting you face what you earned. I stood. Allison tracked me. James blocked Brandon as he lunged. The clock read 11:52. Dad, please. I closed the laptop. Brandon screamed. It'll upload anyway, I said quietly. I just can't watch it happen. Allison aimed at my chest. Open it. Now. Shoot if you want, I said. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of living knowing I let evil win. James stepped beside me. You'll have to kill us both. The laptop beeped. 11:58. The door exploded. FBI, drop your weapon. Lasers painted Allison's chest. She dropped the gun. Brandon lunged again. Agents tackled him. I hate you, he screamed. You're not my father. Tears ran down my face. I know. Outside, the countdown began. Midnight, fireworks, celebration. The laptop beeped again. So don't fight. Upload complete. My phone confirmed the case. My children named as suspects. Me as the victim. Brandon collapsed. Allison went silent. They were led away in cuffs. James touched my shoulder. You did the right thing. Outside Salt Lake City, celebrated. Inside, I stood in the ruins of my family, wondering if justice always cost this much, and if doing what's right always meant losing everyone you love. The FBI processed my children like any other criminals. Fingerprints, mugshots, interrogation rooms. Somewhere between late night and early morning, my son and daughter stopped being family and became case numbers. I drove home as the sun rose on New Year's Day, the year I lost everything. The hotel room emptied fast. Agents' evidence bags my son in handcuffs. Allison screaming accusations down the hallway. Then silence, the kind that follows explosions when the smoke clears and you start counting the dead. James and I sat in that luxury suite, champagne still chilling, untouched. What do you say when your family's gone, but their bodies are still breathing? Agent Matthews returned. Mr. Bennett, I need you at the field office. Questions, paperwork, a formal statement. I nodded. My throat wouldn't work. I'll go with him, James said. The FBI office was sterile and cold. 1 in the morning, coffee that tasted like ash. Matthew sat across from me. For the record, you are not a suspect. You're a victim. Your identity was stolen for 8 years. We confirmed that 3 months ago. 3 months, I repeated. Our accountants cleared you quickly. Forged signatures never fully match. Your financial history didn't fit a man moving millions. Ranch income, simple taxes, no offshore activity. Why didn't you tell me? We needed to see the family dynamics. Who would betray whom? Whether you'd warn them if approached. Most parents would. Anger cut through the numbness. You let me think I could go to prison. You watched me suffer. Yes, and I'm sorry, but it was necessary. Will they go to prison? Yes. Brandon's cooperation may reduce his sentence perhaps 10 years. Melissa refuses to cooperate 25 minimum. Allison's record and tonight's escape add up to 28. I did the math. Lifetimes erased. You'll testify as a witness, she said. Can you do that? I will. Your name will be cleared, shell companies dissolved, assets returned to victims' families. But people will know I whispered, my community. They'll know my children are criminals. Yes, she said gently. That part I can't fix. We left around 2. James waited outside. Let me drive, he said. I'm fine. You're shaking. He drove. Interstate 15. Snow falling. Roads empty. Silence stretching for miles. You did what Eleanor would have wanted, he said. Or I chose pride over love. You chose truth. Tears finally came. He didn't comment. Just drove. Bennett Ranch at dawn. Peter Donovan's truck waited. The FBI had called him. George, he said softly, catching me as I stepped out. Come inside. I need to see Eleanor first. I walked to the small cemetery. 3 headstones. My parents. My wife. I knelt in the snow. Ellie, I tried. I raised them with honor and love, but they became people I don't recognize. Brandon's a thief. Melissa's a monster. I don't know where I failed. Tonight, I chose justice over them. I had the power to stop it, but I didn't. I let them face what they'd done. I hope you understand. I don't feel proud. I feel hollow. Brandon says he hates me. Melissa says I had nothing left to teach her. Maybe I'm just an old man clinging to fairy tales. But you believed in those fairy tales too. Doing what's right. Facing consequences. Loving without enabling. I'm trying to believe that was enough. I miss you. I don't know how to survive this without you. The wind answered. I stood, brushed snow from her stone, and went back to the house. Peter poured coffee. James sat nearby. They talked about weather cattle, anything but my children. By noon, the news spread. Radio reports, headlines. My phone rang endlessly. Neighbors, friends, reporters. I didn't answer. I sat by the window and watched the snow fall covering the world, bearing yesterday's footprints, blanketing everything clean and white, as if nothing had happened. But it had, and no amount of snow could change that. They say time heals all wounds. 3 months after my children went to prison, I learned that was a lie. Time doesn't heal. It teaches you how to live with the bleeding. Sentencing came on April 15th in a federal courtroom in Salt Lake City. I sat in the back row as the judge read the verdicts. Brandon received 10 years. Melissa received 25. Allison Brooks received 28. Each sentence included parole reviews and restitution for the 23 victims whose lives they had ruined. As they were let out, Brandon looked back at me hollow-eyed. I didn't look away. Melissa refused my gaze. Allison stared ahead, jaw locked. I left alone. The drive to Montana took 8 hours. I stopped once for gas and bitter coffee while cheerful songs mocked me from the radio. When I reached the ranch, a for sale sign stood in the yard. Peter Donovan had listed it. I told him not to hide the truth, let people judge. I had nothing left to protect. The farm sold in 6 weeks to a young couple with 2 small children. They asked about its history. I said it was a good place to raise a family if you taught right from wrong. In May, I moved to a 1-bedroom rental in Bozeman, quiet and anonymous. I kept only a few things: Eleanor's quilt, an old family photograph, and the suitcase that proved the nightmare was real. Brandon's first letter arrived mid-May from a federal prison in Oregon. His handwriting shook. He wrote that he was sorry that he thought about Dorothy Martinez and the others every day, that he knew he didn't deserve forgiveness. I answered with one sentence, I love you, but I can't protect you from your choices anymore. I sent the same message to Melissa. It came back unopened. 1 year later, on New Year's Eve, James Patterson knocked on my door with whiskey and 2 glasses. We sat watching snowfall. He asked how I was. I said that depended on the definition. We shared silence, the kind earned through fire. He asked about Brandon. I said he wrote monthly and claimed he was trying to change. I didn't know if it mattered. James said Eleanor would be proud. I said she would have saved everyone. He said I chose truth, the hardest choice a father can make. I showed him the letter I sent Melissa every month, telling her I loved her, forgave her, and was here if she ever wanted to speak. She never replied. Near midnight we stood outside. Fireworks popped in the distance. James toasted survival. I echoed it. At midnight, I remembered the hotel room, the breach, the upload completing the victims whose lives could never be restored. I thought of Eleanor on the hill above land I no longer owned, and wondered if she would forgive me. After James left, I watched snow cover his tire tracks. I sat with the old photograph, Eleanor, smiling, Brandon 9, Melissa 7, all of us whole. I don't know if time heals or forgiveness is real. I only know I loved my children, taught them right from wrong, and couldn't catch them when they jumped. Time doesn't heal. It teaches you how to survive. For now, that is enough. I went to bed late, wrapped in Eleanor's quilt, listening to the house settle. Somewhere my children lay awake in cells facing dawn alone. I closed my eyes, breathing through the ache, promising myself to rise tomorrow, feed the cattle, answer no calls, and keep living anyway without regret or apology. I'm 68 years old now, and I've spent a year learning what survival really means. This is one of those grandpa stories you might not want to hear, but it's a true story that needs telling. If you're a father, a mother, or anyone raising children, don't be like me. Don't wait until it's too late to see the truth. I taught my children right from wrong, but I didn't teach them how to face consequences. I taught them honor, but I didn't show them that love without accountability is just permission to fall. God gave me the strength to stand in that hotel room. God gave me the courage to let the upload finish at 0005. And God is still teaching me every single day that doing the right thing doesn't always feel like victory. These grandpa stories aren't meant to inspire you. They're meant to warn you. This true story cost me everything I loved, but it saved 23 families from losing more. These are the kind of grandpa stories that carry weight, not comfort. I pray you never face a choice like mine. But if you do, I hope you remember this true story and choose truth over comfort, justice over silence, even when it breaks your heart. Hold your children accountable while you still can. Love them fiercely, but don't shield them from the weight of their own choices. God will give you strength when you need it most. If this story moved you, please leave a comment below, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to this channel. Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for listening, and may God bless you and your family.